All right, let's get started. Okay. It's just so weird with the house. You're going to be the back. I guess you could check if it's filming. I mean, you can't tell.
You have to make the fake laughs like in a 90s sitcom.
This is the third episode of How's Work, and I've got my guest, Eva.
Thank you for having me in this third episode of How's Work.
Yeah.
I'm Eva Zaffarini. I'm a fourth year PhD student at the University of Calgary in medical sciences. And I started in 2019, coming from Italy, international student. My program is medical sciences, but my thesis, as I would explain, it is more in biological anthropology, evolutionary biology, evolutionary anthropology. I've always wanted to do biology since I was 6 years old, probably. Yeah. I started feeling like, I don't know, like I was interested in animals. Yeah. I was interested in like nature, ecology, knowing what animals do, like how they live, and stuff like that. And so it was very easy for me to get into the right high school. Right. In Italy, we have this system of high schools, which you don't pick your classes, but you pick your high school. I see. And mine was scientific high school. Whoa! So it's all based on science, like nothing else. There are also like subjects like Latin, literature, art. Yeah. But it was like with a focus more on physics, mathematics, biology, chemistry, stuff. What? Like that. Yeah, it was intense. My parents, they are not really artists. Yeah. But they make wallpaper designs. Amazing. Wow. So they had this small company and they wanted me to absolutely get into art school and like art university. And I said, no, I'm going to be a biologist. And then after high school, I went straight into university. Okay. Biology was the program. University, I can say it in Italian. Oh, okay, yeah, say it. Yeah, use your Italian accent. It's called Università degli Studi di Milano Bicocca. Oh my God. So it's in Milan. In Milan, wow. 3 years. 3 years, okay. It took me a little longer. Yeah. Because I went for 1 year abroad to study different subjects, and then I came back. And it takes a little longer if you do that. Yeah. And then I went into master. Yeah. At the same university. Okay. And then while I was there, I was deciding like, what kind of biologist do I want to be? Because there are so many different areas. Like you can go into cancer research. Right. You can go into ecology, zoology, molecular biology. And I was like trying to decide what to do. Yeah. And one day I started this course, which is called Evolutionary Developmental Biology. Okay. For short, EvoDevo. Ooh, that's cool. EvoDevo. EvoDevo, yes. That could be someone's name. Evo. Devo. Yeah, or a band name, yeah. And I fell in, like, you know when you fall in love, like at first sight? Yeah. I fell in love at the first lecture. I was like, this is my job. This is my future. Yeah. And I asked the professor, hey, I have to do my master thesis. Where can I do it? Like specifically in EvoDevo. And he said, oh, Eva, Italy, there are so many places in the world. Yeah. Italy has a few. Right. But the best for you would be to go abroad. Okay. And so he introduced me to this professor in Vienna, in Austria. Yeah. And I contacted him. And he invited me to like do an interview with him. So I drove from Milan to Vienna, it took me 2 days.
Holy!
Just to get
2
an
days.
interview. Just to see whether I could do a master thesis. I took my family. I was like, let's go to Vienna. Let's go for like a 3-day trip or something.
Yeah,
They
why
were all
not?
excited. So I was talking about how great Evo is and how great this professor was, because he's also like a good like renowned name in the field. And I said, I read all your books. Lie.
Yeah.
Lie.
Just try to please them.
Just one.
Yeah.
I read one.
Yeah.
And he told me, Eva, you seem like a good candidate, but I'm going to retire very soon.
Oh my God.
At that moment, I was like, what? You got me here?
Yeah, and then now you're telling me you're gonna
like
retire.
1,000 kilometers away from my house.
Yeah.
I had to pay for everything, and now you're telling me that you're going to retire?
Oh God.
Why are you doing this to me? So I looked at him like...
So what was this whole point? Like, you just let me go on, and now you're telling me at the end of it?
Like my whole world just fell apart. But then he said, no, don't worry. I'm going to call my collaborator. Maybe he needs a master's student,
Right.
I said, fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I was ready literally to walk out of his office and find somebody else in the university. Like, knock on every door and be like, can I do my master's thesis? Can I do my master's thesis?
Yeah.
I wanted to be there,
Yeah.
And he calls his collaborator. And we chat a little bit, and he was not expecting anybody.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, I have to talk to this girl now. And
Yeah.
What does she want?
Yeah.
So we chat a little bit, and he said, okay, you can come here.
Yeah.
It was May 2017 at that time.
Okay.
And he said, you can come here in October.
Oh, okay.
And which is like the start of the school year.
Okay.
So I went there. I did my year of master thesis. And it was so great.
Wow, okay.
It was the best decision of my life. I don't know, it's like the environment was very stimulating.
Okay.
It was like Vienna is one of the cradles of Evo. So you have all this history, you have all this culture around Evo.
Yeah.
Like that it started like 100 years ago. And so I don't know, it was a very exciting year. I did 2 projects, not just like my university required 1 year of project.
Okay.
And just one project.
Yeah.
But I had enough time to make 2.
Wow.
And I published 2 papers out of that.
Yeah.
And I learned so much, and I made so many friends, and I'm like, that professor was like one of the people that enabled me to do this fantastic research. My first project was about the rates of cesarean sections that are increasing worldwide.
Yeah.
And my job was to find out which factors make it possible. Like, what are the factors in every country that contribute to this increase in cesarean sections, right? And it turns out there are many factors like education, economical status, how rich the country is, medical development, But one of them is also the increase in height over the generations.
Okay.
So those countries that experienced a very fast height increase on average in the population are also the ones that experience more rates of cesarean section.
Oh, okay. Fascinating.
And one of the reasons is that since every generation experiences better socioeconomical conditions and better food, better medicine, more resources and everything, the babies in the womb are kind of growing too fast for their mom.
Okay.
And so they're too big for their mom.
Right.
And therefore they need to be born with a C-section.
Okay.
But it's also like kind of a common thing to see, like, oh, my grandma was so short and my mom was a little bit taller, and now I am taller than her.
Yeah.
Because these countries with this like fast accelerating, how do I say it? Like economy.
Yeah.
they experience that, like the babies are doing better than their mothers, and their mothers were doing better than their grandmothers. So
it's all from like because of the development happening in the world that then it sort of changes
exactly
the size of the child, I guess, in the womb.
Yeah. And height, like adult height, is sort of a proxy to measure how good the babies are doing. Yeah. Because bigger babies are going to produce taller adults. Right. And so by measuring the adults, you can know how big the babies are when they're born. Honestly, it's just because I met that professor and he was like, I'm studying this. So either you accept it or not. Oh, okay. And I asked, is it Evo Divo? And he said, yes, Evo Divo. And I said, it's fine.
Yeah, okay, we'll try it out. Yeah, like, why not? Yeah.
And it was one of, like, you know, when you are like, I was in the right place at the right time.
Yes.
That was my right place at the right time.
That's incredible.
That was for me.
That's incredible.
You have to look for it. Yeah. I know people that didn't want anything to do with biology after their master degree. Yeah. So they said, okay, I have to produce a thesis. Fine, whatever lab takes me, because you have to search for a lab. Yeah. You have to search for a project. Yeah. But you know, some people are like, I don't care what they give me. I don't care where I end up.
You just want to be over with it, and then
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
And some of them start like that, and they end up loving what they're doing. So they stay in biology. His journey it's very peculiar. Like getting into a PhD and getting into research is not for everybody. Yeah. Especially because it doesn't pay much. Okay. Unless you are a very well-established professor. Yeah. But like as a researcher, when you're starting, it doesn't pay that well. It pays okay. So I'm a PhD student, which means that I get paid like a student. Yeah. Okay. And the minimum wage would be around 15 an hour. It's a little complicated because you get in, it's considered 15 an hour, supposing that you work 8 hours a day, which is not what happens. No. Because you work way more than that. Oh. Way more than that. At the end of the year, how much is that? Like 20-something thousand? Like 23,000?
A year?
Like my initial contract was going to be 23,000 a year. Okay. Which divided by 8 hours a week, a day for it's more or less 14, 15. But then there is a possibility in Canada and in the United States and in other parts. I'm not sure about Italy. But in Canada, there is a possibility to win these big scholarships, and that increases your salary.
Oh, okay.
There is a very good one that is going to give you 50,000 a year for 3 years. And that's the top one. Whoa. That's one of those scholarships that like 10 people in the whole Canada get.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Okay.
It's called the Vanier Scholarship. So it's a very competitive world. Yeah. You basically need to write a very good proposal. Okay. Very good. Yeah. The research needs to impact a lot of people. Okay. So like if you're doing a super niche thing, I don't think you get... you could get the Vanier. And also you need to prove that like you published already a lot of papers, that you have been doing a lot of volunteering, like leadership, like prove your leadership, you know? Yeah, yeah. Basically, I asked my professor, that one in Vienna, can I do a PhD with you? Yeah. And he said, that would be great, but I don't have the money for the research. So if you want to do your PhD in the next year, you might want to go to Canada because I have a collaborator there. And he said, oh, he's a very good researcher. So if you want to continue on this line, you should contact him and see what he says. And so I contacted him, Skype call that lasted half an hour, 40 minutes. And I explained the idea that I had for a PhD project. And he said, yeah, it sounds good. Come here. Yeah. And I was hired. Well, like, how much they publish. Okay. How many resources they get. How many grants, fundings. Okay. How the grades are given to the students. Like, if it's too easy, it's not a very good program. Okay. The hardest programs are difficult to get in, and you have to apply, you have to send the CV, you have to send everything. And then they will decide, like there is a committee that decides who gets in and who gets rejected.
Right.
Besides the principal investigator.
Yeah.
So like he or she, they might be like, yeah, sure, come here.
Yeah.
And then if the committee decides that you're not getting in, you're not getting in. McGill is very good for the medicine program.
Okay.
U of T.
Okay.
In Toronto is another very good university. Also for medical sciences.
Yeah.
They told me it's very hard. Very, very sort of
challenging.
Cutthroat.
Oh, okay.
Like very competitive.
Yeah.
And then there is UBC. First of all, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like you drive towards downtown and there are all these suburbs but the suburbs are just houses.
Yeah.
It's not like a European city where there is like different
towns.
Different towns or like different areas of a city which have their own center, their own stuff going on. No, there is downtown and a few other places and then there is suburbs.
Yeah.
And it was very weird for me.
Yeah.
It was cold.
Yeah.
Summer 2019 was kind of cold.
A little bit colder. Yeah.
And then like the cultural shock is intense. I was completing a course in anatomy.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Like we could go to the lab and like dissect cadavers.
What's cadavers?
Like dead people.
Oh,
like dead bodies.
Oh shit.
I mean
that's part of your degree. Yeah.
You have to do anatomy. You have to understand what you're looking at.
Of course. You
cannot just do it on books.
No.
At least you can do it until high school or the first years of university. But if you are in a doctoral program, you have to see.
You have to do it. Yeah.
What's the thing?
Yeah.
My quarantine started, like self-isolation.
Yeah.
And every day was waking up, going to work, which was like from my bed to my desk.
Your desk, yeah.
And talking through Zoom and being just yourself, like being by yourself. Yeah. It wasn't easy. But we came out of that. It was definitely hard for me and the other PhD students because they say, when they say it takes a village to raise a baby, they say the same thing for a PhD student. Like it takes a whole lab to raise a PhD student.
Yeah, no
you're
kidding.
Becoming a researcher, you know?
Yeah.
And this is the last time that somebody is going to tell you how to do things. From now on, like from when you graduate onwards,
there's no one.
You are a researcher, so you have to come up with ideas, you have to come up with methods, you have to understand whether your methods are good or not. And of course, you're going to receive feedback. But not as much as when you're a student. Yeah, right. And I didn't have that feedback at first, so I had crazy ideas. Yeah. And then I was talking through Zoom to my supervisor, and some of those ideas he said, no. They're not feasible at all. Right. And I was like, well, I don't know. I just came up with those ideas by myself. Yeah. But if I was in a lab, I would chat with other people. Yeah. And they would say, oh, no, you can't do that. So the PhD in general is about, again, the evolution of childbirth. Yep. And I'm looking at it from different perspectives because the big question is, why is human childbirth so difficult? Right. Because we have big babies and we have small hips, small pelvises. Yes. And so I take three different approaches. One approach is studying the genes that influence the possibility of having a C-section. Yeah. Another project is about what hormones, especially sex hormones like estrogens and androgens, influence the size of the baby and the size of the pelvis and how they influence the interaction between mother and baby. Right. And the third project is more about populations. Okay. So what happens when we cross two different populations that are very well established in their habitat. All of this is done on mice. I'm not doing this on humans. Yeah. By the way, mice. One mouse, the diversity outbred mice, which are very special. Yeah. $100 per mouse, and you need 1,000 of them.
Oh my God.
So,
oh Jesus.
$100,000 spent on research is pretty common. It's pretty
Yeah.
normal. So, this specific type of mouse, it's so expensive because you need to genotype them. It means that for every mouse,
Yeah.
you know exactly which genetic variants they have.
Oh.
Across this other one is on like what happens if we take two species, like two different species of mice that have their own well-established pattern of childbirth,
Yeah.
and we cross them.
Yeah.
Does that destroy the pattern of childbirth? Like, to be more specific, there is a covariation between a skull shape and pelvic shape.
Okay.
Because of course the skull of the baby needs to pass
Through the pelvis. Yeah.
And this covariation arises in populations over generations and generations and generations.
Yeah.
And every population has their own
Yeah.
type
Right.
of covariation. But if you cross two of them, what happens?
Right.
Is this covariation lost?
Okay.
Can these like the findings from this project can inform us of what happens when there is, for example, interracial marriage or any other like two populations that, I don't know, like they don't usually marry? Do we see more C-section
Yeah.
in those people?
Okay.
That's very exciting. So for each project, there is a different aim.
Yeah.
So for the project about the genetics, like if we know what genes, for example, in the mouse, influence this covariation between pelvic shape and skull shape, maybe we can take those same genes and look at them in humans.
Okay.
And see if they're similar or if they are different. How are they different? Which ones are different?
Yeah.
Maybe those genes can tell us why in humans it's difficult to have babies, whereas in mice it's a little less difficult.
Yeah.
You know, like comparing differences and similarities. With the second project is the one about sex hormones. What is the influence of these sex hormones that we have as mothers? So a little bit of context. So in this project, I'm basically testing the effect of different dosages of estrogens and androgens on pregnant mice.
Okay.
Because my idea, like my hypothesis, is that estrogens, which are the feminine hormones, the female hormones, they tend to both enlarge the pelvis, but also enlarge the fetuses.
Okay.
Whereas like the opposite thing is that androgens, which are the masculine hormones, tend to narrow the pelvis to make it look more masculine, sort of. But as a consequence, you can't have a big baby.
No.
So these same hormones are also going to affect your fetus, and your fetus is going to be smaller.
Right.
This is an hypothesis.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
That's why I have to
So
do
interesting.
an experiment. And like if we find out whether this is true or not, you are a pregnant woman, you go to a testing facility, they take your blood, they say, oh look, your balance between estrogens and androgens, female and male hormones, is biased towards one or the other.
Okay,
Like you have more estrogens than normal. Than a normal woman, for example. So you're going to have a big baby.
And then that's the you can.
But also maybe a big pelvis.
Okay.
Or I don't know, maybe you have a small pelvis. Like you can measure it, but you have a lot of estrogen, so your baby is going to be big. So that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Then therefore you have to kind of do the C-section.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
in those moments. Yeah.
And it's a problem also, like to have a lot of C-sections, because we know that C-sections are connected, they're associated with a lot of morbidities later in life. Like babies born through C-sections are more likely to have asthma, autoimmune diseases, problems with their guts, like digestive problems, even just IBS.
What's,
you know?
sorry, if you don't mind. IBS.
IBS is like irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like there is a link, but that also is linked to depression.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so a C-section is more likely to give you these morbidities, which are also more likely to give you depression.
Yeah.
So, like, if we can reduce the number of C-sections, especially to the women that don't really need one, and encourage different ways of giving birth.
Yeah.
You know, that might help.
Yeah.
But if a woman comes in and she says, I would like to have a natural birth, and we measure a bunch of things on her, and we say, look, you're more at risk of having a C-section, so you might want to consider it. She might get prepared for a C-section. She might reconsider it. And of course, like, body autonomy is very important. And women should be able to decide what to do for their body.
Right.
But having something that tells you, look, you're more at risk of this, you're more at risk of that, it's important. They need to be informed.
Right.
It's education about this is important.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of different opinions. There are doctors that recommend C-sections. There are doctors that don't recommend C-sections. They can measure a bunch of parameters, like, for example, diabetes is connected to an increased risk of C-section. Obesity is another one. Old age, old in the sense of like being 40 years old, or being a teenager is also considered a risk factor. But all these sort of risk factors, they don't take into account other aspects of what you are. Like, they don't take into account your genetics, they don't take into account the shape of your pelvis, the shape of your skull, how much hormones do you have. So I feel like I'm not going to give a solution, but it's a step forward
To,
you know?
to something maybe even greater. And are you enjoying it?
Oh yeah, a lot. I'm collecting the data. I don't have many results yet. Some results are pointing in the right direction, especially for the third project. For the other two projects, I'm really just collecting the data for now. Which is, you know, being a fourth year PhD student. Sometimes you get disappointed at yourself. That you're like, oh, I'm so far into the program. The program normally is 6 years.
Oh.
It's a long one. It's usually it would be 3 years, but for medical sciences it's 6.
6, okay.
But being a fourth year PhD student without results, it's not the best. It takes permissions from committees.
Right.
It takes just the machinery working, and sometimes it doesn't work. And you need to call the technician.
Right.
It takes you learning how to operate the machines, how to write the code, how to even just developing your ideas takes time.
So it takes a lot of patience too, right? That's like the ultimate thing, right? Especially while you're waiting.
I'm an impatient person. But the PhD, if there is one thing that it teaches you, is to be patient.
I bet.
Calm down. Like, you scream into the void. I don't really have tips on how to do it. Like, everybody is different. Everybody has their own techniques. If they have a technique, for me, it was just learning to tell myself, Eva, be patient. You know? Just be patient. Like, do something else. Write, like, if you cannot collect the data, if you cannot do the analysis, write something, read something, correct, like, you can correct assignments. Because I'm going to start as a teaching assistant now, next week. In genomics. So that will be another thing that I have to do in kind of the free time that I get from not collecting data. So genomics is the discipline that studies all the genes that influence, like, a phenotype, like, for example, a complex disease, all at once. And there are also, like, techniques of genomics, like, for example, the collection of all these genes for multiple people. Usually, whenever you hear the word, some word with omics at the end, like proteomics,
Okay.
genomics.
Yeah.
I don't know, like transcriptomics is another one.
Okay.
It's a collection, like collecting a large amount of data.
Okay.
And then analyzing this big amount of data all at once.
I see.
It's like most of the collection of the genetics
Yeah.
of my sample has been done already.
Okay.
But then I will have to do all the analysis.
Yeah.
And like traditional genetics would look at one gene at a time. Be like, this is a disease, which gene causes this big disease?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But now we understand that like many diseases, like for example diabetes,
Yeah.
are caused by like many genes.
Right.
And so genomics is more appropriate to study. I want to become an academic.
Okay. Okay.
Like I am one of those crazy people that wants to stay in academia because like it's very common. It's not crazy people, but it's very common for a lot of people to like get into a PhD.
Yeah.
And getting super frustrated.
Yeah.
And overworked.
Yeah.
And they end up hating it. They end up hating academia.
Yeah.
So they can't wait to switch to industry.
Okay.
And get like into a big company that pays good money.
Yeah.
And they're going to do what the company wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I see myself continuing on this path.
Yeah.
Finishing the PhD.
Yeah.
Doing I don't know how many postdocs, which basically is like very short contracts as researchers.
Okay.
And you get to travel a lot usually when you do those. And then eventually I would like to become a professor and have my own lab.
Okay.
But it's not super easy. It's,
No,
like,
of course
it's
not.
a journey.
Yeah.
Any job, you
Yeah.
have to do a little bit of research
Yeah.
for like the job positions.
Yeah.
And also some position will be advertised, especially at conferences.
Okay.
They get advertised, and that's why it's very important to have a good network
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
That you also build during the PhD.
So it's important to like really be a social person to kind
Yes.
of attend to these conferences and like
Yes.
any
Get
events
to
that they
know
have.
people
Yeah.
and start talking. Oh, you do that? Oh, that's interesting. Wait, you know that technique? We actually in our lab don't know how to do that technique. Come to our lab.
Oh,
you know?
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an exchange.
It's an exchange of that. Hey.
So first year bachelor student, on their first day, I would say, forget high school. Forget how you were studying in high school.
Okay.
If you really want to succeed, if you really want to be a good student, you have to give up a lot. You have to study a lot, study unless you're a genius, and you have to organize your studying very well.
Yeah.
And be serious about it. You can around a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
you
yeah.
can have the bachelor student life, you know, the undergrad crazy life.
Yeah.
Sure.
The
but
parties.
you have to study a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. Master student, if you made it successfully through your bachelor degree, or even if you didn't, and you start your master and you're kind of doing well at this point,
Yeah.
don't think that the road is going to be downhill. At this point, you might be getting better grades.
Yeah.
At this point, you might know how to study. Don't think that you are that good.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Think that you are good.
Yeah.
Like, of course, have self-esteem.
Be a bit humble.
Be humble.
Yeah. Be
exactly.
humble. Yeah.
And then for first year, first day PhD students, this advice is very important. You're going to feel overwhelmed a lot.
Yeah.
But the PhD program is supposed to make you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And also don't think that you are the only one. Like a lot of other students are in your same boat.
Yeah.
And no, I'm very lucky to be able to do this.
Yeah.
That they gave me the opportunity to do this. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I can pick your brain literally all day, but I feel like no one's gonna be wanting to watch just like all day long.
All day long.
No.
I can give a lecture.
Yeah, actually, yeah. If you do a lecture, I mean, you know,
In the future.
people
in the
can.
future, when I have results.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. Thanks for making time for
Thank you for
letting
having me today.
Yeah.
It's a very nice opportunity.
It's a very special episode, to be honest, for me, because I respect you a lot. The work that you do is like very inspiring.
Yeah,
and
also your work, or this thing, this podcast video thing.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. It's a privilege.
Oh, thank you.
It's really a privilege to be able to talk about what you like to do.
Yeah.
And what is your life.
Yeah.
It makes me very happy and excited.
Thank you.
It's nice.
I'm really glad. And then I just hope that like I said this for the last episode too, but if anyone has questions for Eva, I'm sure like jot it down in the comment section below, and then maybe I can pass it on to you, and then you can share some answers.
I'm always on YouTube.
Yeah, if you can, that would be great, and especially if people are like, I wanted to know more about this kind of deal. Well, thanks again, and that's it. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Do I have to say like something like
press like and
comment, subscribe,
yeah.
press like.